There's an entire justice system that disagrees with you. The reason anyone can be held accountable for their actions is because we choose what to do. Okay, before I backtrack, and I'm just going to lay it all out for you. This is wrong on many levels, or multiple levels. The problem with the justice system is that, well, aside from God not being any better than humans, because God also has a, well, it doesn't, if you could call it a justice system on God's part, but the justice system is black and white. There's no gray area. You commit a crime, and I'm not sure if any court of law cares what the intent of the crime was, because not every crime is criminally intended. For example, somebody who was just defending himself killed another guy. That's not criminal intent, but simultaneously the justice system does not solve problems. Law enforcement cleans up after the fact, and that's all it does, while it maintains a controlled state of chaos, if you will. And that's why the justice system is fundamentally flawed, not to mention that some of the laws are unjust. And I've just added a segment to my book, a very small one, on my prisons chapter, which nobody will ever fucking read because you're all a bunch of fucking cocksuckers out there, both Democrats and Republicans alike. I'm sure you would disagree with what I'm about to say also. The point of prison is for reform, or it's a corrections facility. But the reality is, as the Republicans would say, they have a little slogan of their own: if you can't do the time, don't commit the crime. And it's not about doing the time. It's about being corrected. But the system doesn't do that. That's not what happens in prison. Some people may claim to find Jesus, and that's just bullshit. But I'm not going to go into that. Basically, prison abuses and takes advantage of the convicts and the prisoners. But that's about it. Why is marijuana illegal? Why are drugs illegal? Why is prostitution illegal? They don't harm anyone. And if you try to argue that, it's a dangerous occupation, well, that's only because it's illegal. Mafia exists because everything's illegal. Such crimes are anti-economic because it's what people want. It's the basics of economics, supply and demand. But anyway, as for the justice system, it also doesn't solve problems because it's not supposed to. It's not designed to. That's not the point of it. Laws don't stop people. As for God, as for Jesus Christ, you guys would say, well, he died for his sins. Well, that's irresponsible, because taking the responsibility for another person's, you guys want to talk about accountability all the time and suffering consequences. Well, paying the price for somebody else's crime, as you guys like to call sin, doesn't solve the problem. Of course, God isn't about solving problems either. Our justice system does not solve problems, which would require reasoning and understanding for the reasons of the crimes: theft, kidnapping, whatever crime goes on, particularly theft and murder. God is only interested in obedience, and disobeying God isn't a crime, because the desire for obedience is a psychosis. To want somebody to obey you, that's just insanity. It's mental illness. So those are a multitude of reasons why the justice system is faulty, and why this is an invalid argument in favor of God. Say that it disagrees with me. Well, that's a bad example for those reasons. The reason anyone can be held accountable for their actions is because we choose what to do. Well, the question is, why do people choose to murder? Why do people I'm talking criminal intent here. Why do they choose to steal? What's going on out there? Why are they doing all these things? Maybe there's economic instabilities going on. Maybe there's some politics isn't about the people. So just, creating the circumstances against people, making people's lives hard and miserable and difficult, and then punishing them for it, that means this justice system is criminal. Because our politicians, they create the circumstances for the crimes to be committed. The justice system doesn't care why people choose what to do. So, and even insane people are held accountable if they commit crimes. Well, if they're insane, well, then they should be institutionalized, shouldn't they? Not to mention that cops can be insane, and a lot of politicians are insane. You're probably insane. I mean, you can't figure this out. Why is it that I can? You're making excuses for God. What's God's excuse? He set Adam and Eve up to disobey him. Which I don't understand how they can if he created Adam and Eve. Did he create them as sinners? How else could they have disobeyed him or, chose wrong? And how could God have given them bad options? Something's wrong there, dude. Because if you're not responsible for your actions, you're dwelling way too much on responsibility. Would we need to be responsible? Would we need a criminal? Would we need anything if God was a responsible creator and made us all immortal and invincible? Probably not, right? Because how could we hurt each other? How could there wouldn't be any reason for, or morality wouldn't be a thing. Neither would justice. God doesn't solve problems. He enables the problem and he perpetuates it. That problem being, quote, sin. Okay, so going backward here. No, free will can't exist if we're all born broken. And you're going on about justice, the justice system disagreeing with me. How can the justice... What does... What? So, you're saying... What are you saying here? The justice system disagrees with free will not existing, or can't exist. The justice system says that disagrees that free will can't exist if we're all born broken. Well, how can free will exist? You're not even answering the question. You're going on about the justice system when my statement is that free will can't exist if we're all broken. So how can it exist, and what does that have to do with the justice system? So we're being punished by our own fucking nature? Is that what you're saying? This is nonsense based on that. Being that we are, according to this religion, and as you psychotically insist, your turning to God makes him evil. Yeah? How is this an argument against that? Or is that in this part? Okay, Jesus says, do not hinder the little children that come from coming to me. Well, if that's a concern, then stop preaching, because that's precisely what you fucking do. You guys know that a lot of people, whenever you got these open air preachers out there, they know that a lot of people don't want to hear, and while some are even offended, but they keep doing it anyway. They're effectively turning people away from God. Or Jesus, whatever, And that's what you're doing to me. This whole reply is satanic for that reason. Not that I would, but you're turning people away. Other people away, not just me. Such as what? Children are trusting and innocent. How are they trusting and innocent if we're all born sinful, broken, born with original sin? Explain that. when you reach the age of volition, exercising your will to choose, and you choose to sin, then you're guilty of what, though? Just because you say so? And, I mean, well, like I say, though, well, when you choose, well, how can we choose to sin when we're all born with that original sin? You're completely ignoring what I said. We're born connected to God. Okay. Original sin, dipshit. It's in the religion, asshole. We are not born connected to God. That does not mean that we choose to sin upon age of volition, you jackass. He showed that with God and you can overcome the world and human... What? What are you talking about? This whole thing is fucking garbage. Now you're just preaching. And I don't appreciate you ignoring what I said in that other video, or in my other video to you. You do have free will. How can we if we are all born with original sin? It's either God or Satan. We're never ourself to make a choice. You're arguing against your own fucking worldview, you psychopath. You just don't have the power to control it. I've already broken down relationship with God. You're an asshole for just ignoring what I said.